Did you know that the foods you think are healthy could secretly be harming your kidneys after 60? In the next few minutes, I'll reveal the 4 everyday foods most seniors unknowingly overeat and how they can accelerate kidney damage. The 4 foods I'm going to show you today have one thing in common. Every single patient who came into my office with declining kidney function, they were eating at least one of them. Not because they were careless, because nobody told them the rules change after 60. I'm Dr. Richard Clark. I'm a nephrologist, a kidney specialist, and I've been in practice for over 20 years. I've watched healthy, active men and women end up facing dialysis, not because they ignored their health, but because the right information never reached them. The foods doing the damage were sitting right there in their kitchens, trusted, chosen carefully, believed to be healthy. I'm going to tell you exactly what those 4 foods are. But first, I need you to understand why they're dangerous specifically for kidneys over 60, because without that context, the list won't stick. And I want this to stick. If you're over 60 or you love someone who is, stay with me. And right now, drop a comment with your age and whether you've ever had your kidney function tested. Just your age and a yes or no. What I'm about to share is directly relevant to where you are today. Let me tell you about Ruth. Ruth was 71 years old when she sat down in my office. A retired school teacher from Ohio. Sharp woman, walked every morning, took her medications faithfully, didn't smoke. She was doing everything right. Her annual blood work flagged a slightly elevated creatinine, so her doctor ran an eGFR, estimated glomerular filtration rate, the standard measure of kidney filtering capacity. Healthy is above 60. Ruth came back at 52. Her doctor told her to watch her diet and come back in 6 months. So Ruth went home and did what careful people do. She researched. She switched to whole wheat bread and bran cereal. She added bananas and avocado for potassium. Everything she read said potassium was good for blood pressure. She started having canned tomato soup for lunch. She drank sports drinks on her walks for electrolytes. 6 months later, her eGFR had dropped from 52 to 38. In one 6-month period, she went from stage 3A to stage 3B chronic kidney disease. Her doctor immediately referred her to me. When Ruth handed me her food diary, I looked through every entry. And here's the thing, it all looked responsible, considered like the diet of someone genuinely trying. Ruth, I told her, everything on this list looks healthy. That's exactly the problem. She stared at me, but I researched these foods. For someone with fully functioning kidneys, I said, most of these are fine, but your kidneys are already working at reduced capacity. When that happens, the rules change completely. Foods that protect your heart in a healthy person become a direct burden on kidneys that are already struggling. We made specific changes over the following year. Ruth's eGFR stabilized at 41. It didn't reverse. Kidney damage at this stage rarely does, but it stopped progressing. Ruth avoided dialysis. She is still cooking her own meals today. So what was actually happening inside her kidneys? Here's what most people don't find out until it becomes personally relevant. After age 40, kidney function naturally declines at roughly 1% per year. The National Kidney Foundation's data shows that by the time a person reaches their 70s, they may have already lost 25 to 30% of their kidney function with 0 symptoms. No pain, no swelling, nothing. Just a number on a lab report quietly moving in the wrong direction. And that decline changes everything about how your body handles food. The first issue is phosphorus. Your kidneys are responsible for removing phosphorus from your blood. As function declines, this process becomes impaired and phosphorus accumulates, a condition called hyperphosphatemia, which the Journal of the American Society of Nephrology has linked directly to accelerated kidney deterioration and vascular damage. The most dangerous form isn't phosphorus that occurs naturally in food. It's inorganic phosphorus, the kind added to processed foods as a preservative. Your body absorbs inorganic phosphorus at 90 to nearly 100% compared to 40 to 60% for natural phosphorus. That's a massive difference, and it doesn't show up on any nutrition label. The second issue is potassium regulation. Healthy kidneys maintain potassium at a precise, safe level in your blood. When function is reduced, excess potassium can no longer be cleared efficiently, and it builds up to levels that trigger dangerous cardiac arrhythmias. The American Heart Association has documented this connection clearly. The cruel irony is that the foods most heavily marketed for heart health in seniors, bananas, avocado, oranges, are among the highest potassium foods you can eat. The third issue is protein load. High-protein meals force your kidneys to dramatically increase their filtration rate to handle the metabolic byproducts. In healthy kidneys, this is manageable. In kidneys already under stress, this repeated demand, called glomerular hyperfiltration, accelerates the breakdown of the kidney's filtering units. Research in the Clinical Journal of the American Society of Nephrology has shown a clear link between high protein intake and faster kidney decline when function is already compromised. This matters enormously for seniors who've been told to eat more protein for muscle preservation, because that recommendation changes when your eGFR drops below 60. The fourth issue is sodium. As kidney function falls, the ability to excrete excess sodium drops too. Sodium accumulates, fluid is retained, blood pressure rises, and elevated blood pressure causes further kidney damage. It becomes a self-reinforcing cycle. The CDC has consistently identified sodium as one of the primary dietary accelerators of kidney disease progression. This is why I want you to comment right now. Have you ever been told to watch your diet because of kidney function? And were you actually given specific guidance on what to avoid? Comment yes, specific guidance, or told to watch it but no details, because in 20 years of practice, the gap between those two answers is where most of the damage happens. Now let me tell you about Frank, Helen, Walter, and Linda, because each of them shows you a different way this plays out. Frank was 68, a retired firefighter from Texas, still strong. His doctor had correctly told him to prioritize protein at his age to preserve muscle mass. So Frank went all in. Protein shakes, chicken breast at every meal, protein bars for snacks. What nobody had connected was that Frank's eGFR had been sitting at 54 for 2 years, enough kidney compromise that the standard protein recommendation no longer applied to him the same way. Within 14 months, Frank's eGFR dropped to 41, a full stage of kidney disease progression, while following medically accurate advice that was simply designed for a different patient with different kidney function. How was I supposed to know the rules were different? He asked me. He wasn't. That's exactly why this video exists. Helen was 74, a grandmother from Florida who'd thrown herself into cardiovascular health after her husband's heart attack. Avocado daily, potassium supplements from an online article, spinach and everything. Her doctor knew she had stage 3B CKD. It was in her chart, but in a 15-minute appointment focused on blood pressure and cholesterol, the dietary implications had never come up. One morning she woke up with her heart racing, weak, dizzy. Her potassium level in the ER was 6.4 mql, severely elevated, nearly twice the upper limit of normal hyperkalemia. Her heart rhythm was being affected. The emergency team treated her successfully, but when I reviewed her case, the picture was clear. She'd been loading her body with potassium that her kidneys simply could not remove. I was trying to protect my heart, she told me, still shaky. I didn't know I was hurting my kidneys. Walter was 79, a Korean War veteran from Virginia recovering from cancer treatment. During chemotherapy, his oncology team was focused on getting calories into him. Canned soups, sports drinks for electrolytes, packaged foods on hard days. Nobody flagged that his eGFR was 48. After treatment ended and he returned for follow-up, his eGFR had fallen to 29, stage 4 chronic kidney disease. The phosphate additives in the canned goods, the sodium loads in the packaged soups, routinely 800 to 200 milligrams per serving, nearly half a kidney patient's entire daily sodium budget in one bowl, had compounded over months. Walter wishes someone had connected those dots sooner. Linda was 65, newly diagnosed with type 2 diabetes in Minnesota. Her primary care team did everything correctly. They referred her to a skilled nutritionist who built her a detailed evidence-based diabetic diet, high fiber, whole grains, potassium-rich vegetables, lean proteins. The problem was that Linda's eGFR was 55, and the nutritionist wasn't aware of it. 3 foods on that diabetic meal plan, whole wheat bread, lentils, and bananas, were foods I would have told Linda to significantly limit, appropriate for a healthy diabetic. Problematic for a diabetic with compromised kidneys. Not bad medicine, just the challenge of managing multiple conditions in a system where specialists don't always communicate. Now here are the 4 foods. The first is processed and deli meats. Deli turkey, ham, salami, hot dogs, packaged sausage, any cured or preserved meat. 2 problems for aging kidneys: massive sodium loads and inorganic phosphorus additives. A single 2-ounce serving of deli turkey can carry 500 to 600 milliliters of sodium, and the phosphate preservatives, look for anything with phos in the ingredient list, are absorbed at nearly 100% by your body. The National Kidney Foundation has specifically flagged phosphate additives as one of the most significant and overlooked hazards for CKD patients. Every time you eat processed meat, you're delivering a concentrated phosphorus dose to kidneys already struggling to clear it. The second food, and this is the one that surprises people most, is high potassium fruits. I want to be clear, I'm not saying fruit is bad. I'm saying that for anyone with an eGFR below 60, certain fruits deliver potassium loads a compromised kidney cannot adequately clear. The main ones: bananas, oranges, kiwi, avocado, all genuinely healthy for people with normal kidney function, all documented contributors to elevated potassium levels in CKD patients, per research in the Journal of Renal Nutrition. The solution isn't to stop eating fruit, it's to shift. Apples, blueberries, grapes, strawberries are all significantly lower in potassium and entirely kidney-friendly. The third food is whole wheat bread and bran-based products. I know this sounds wrong. Whole grains have been promoted as a health cornerstone for decades, and for people with healthy kidneys, that's well supported. But whole wheat bread and bran cereals are high in phosphorus and in a form that's more bioavailable than most people realize. The National Kidney Foundation's dietary guidelines explicitly identify whole grain products as a category to limit in CKD. This is one of the most common surprises in my practice. Patients who made the switch from white to whole wheat as a health improvement inadvertently increased their phosphorus burden. The counterintuitive guidance. When kidney function is compromised, white bread and white rice are actually the better choice. This is exactly the kind of thing worth discussing with your doctor once you know your eGFR. The fourth food is canned and packaged soups and instant meals. The damage here is primarily sodium with phosphate additives compounding it. A standard can of soup routinely delivers 800 to 200 and gives sodium per serving. The CDC identifies canned soups as one of the single largest contributors to sodium intake in the American diet. For a CKD patient whose daily sodium limit is 500 to 2,000 millimeters, one bowl of soup can consume half that budget before anything else is eaten. The fix is manageable. Homemade soups using low-sodium broth or canned options specifically labeled under 140 milligrams of sodium per serving. Here's what I want you to do. 7 specific steps. 1. At your next appointment, ask specifically for an eGFR test, not just creatinine eGFR. Write it down right now. I'd like to check my eGFR. That's all you need to say. 2. If your eGFR is below 60, ask for a referral to a renal dietitian, not a general nutritionist. A renal dietitian, someone specifically trained in kidney nutrition. They'll build a plan around your actual numbers. 3. Start reading labels for phosphate additives. Any ingredient with phos in the name, sodium phosphate, disodium phosphate, phosphoric acid, is inorganic phosphorus. Limit or avoid those products. 4. Swap high potassium fruits for lower potassium ones. Bananas become apples, oranges become blueberries, avocado becomes a small drizzle of olive oil for healthy fat. 5. Move from canned to fresh or frozen vegetables with no added salt. If you must use canned, drain and rinse. This removes up to 40% of the sodium. 6. Ask your pharmacist to review your supplements. Many standard multivitamins contain phosphorus and potassium at levels that are fine for healthy adults, but problematic for compromised kidneys. Your pharmacist can flag anything worth discussing. 7. Bring a 1-week food diary to your next appointment, not an app. A piece of paper works perfectly. It gives your doctor a realistic picture of your actual diet and makes that 15-minute appointment dramatically more productive. A few questions I hear constantly. How do I bring this up without seeming like I'm questioning my doctor? You're not questioning anyone. You're coming prepared. Say, I've been reading about kidney function and aging. Can we check my eGFR at my next blood work? Every engaged doctor welcomes that. What if my eGFR is only slightly below normal? Does this still apply? Yes, proportionally. Stage 3A doesn't require the same restrictions as Stage 4, but it does mean the trajectory deserves attention now. Small early changes have far greater impact than larger changes made late. Can dietary changes reverse kidney damage? In most cases beyond the earliest stages, no, not fully. The goal is to slow or stop progression. Patients who make the right adjustments early consistently stabilize at levels that let them avoid dialysis for years longer than those who don't. That's not a consolation prize. For most people, that's the difference between independence and dialysis. I want to come back to where I started. My mother was 68. She felt fine. She was eating bananas every morning for blood pressure. Whole wheat bread because her doctor had recommended it for heart health years ago. Canned soup for lunch because it was easy and low in fat. She wasn't being careless. She was being thoughtful with the information she had. Her eGFR had been quietly declining. When her doctor ran the number and called me, it was 44. I am a kidney doctor. I know exactly what these foods do, and my own mother was eating several of them every single day, believing she was protecting her health. We made the changes, her EGFR stabilized. She is 74 now, still cooking, still walking every morning, but I think about that number, 44, and what it would have become if we'd found it a year later. I made this video because I can't be in every exam room when a doctor says, watch your diet, without saying what that means. But I can be here. Leave a comment right now. One of three things: getting my EGFR checked, making changes today, or sharing with family. Then share this video with someone you love who is over 60. That share is an act of care. And if this gave you something real to bring to your next appointment, please subscribe. This is what I do here every video. You deserve to walk into that appointment knowing this. I'm Dr. Richard Clark. Take care of your kidneys. Take care of the people you love. I'll see you in the next.